Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
And it's good morning to Janet Holborow. She's the Ward Councillor for Paekakriki Romani Community Board and also our Deputy Mayor. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning, Nigel.
Nice day down at Paekakriki, is it?
Yes, it's a bit chilly, but it's lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for the Memorial Day on Monday. You're representing the council there. How did that go, Janet?
So we had bad weather for, I think, the first time since that event's been held. I mean, it's a bit of a miracle that we've managed to have it outside in May for all these years. But the good news is we had that wonderful new Ramaroa building as a wet weather venue. So if it was going to happen, this was the year for it to happen when we had somewhere else to go. So I think there are about 120 people who managed to attend the event, even though it was held inside, which is pretty amazing. The nice thing about that building is you can open the doors, and so some people were able to be outside. It was a bit nippy out there, but most people were able to be inside, and they even fitted a brass band in the corner. So it was an absolutely wonderful, moving, stirring event again. A wonderful speech by the chair of the Kapiti US Marines Trust, and also a representative from the US Embassy there, who also gave a wonderful speech, and Jack Penfold, can't remember his last name, who was a Marine who was at Pearl Harbor, was there as a special guest. He's in his 90s.
Oh, goodness.
Just so special to have him there, and he read some of Frank Zealot, who was Zealot's story about surviving the accident that happened out here on the beach. So it was just such a wonderful, stirring and moving event. But what it really captured was kind of we were right where those huts were, you know, the wonderful the speeches really kind of drew us into the fact that we were sitting exactly where that had happened, you know, that there was a bustle, there were people there, there were 15,000 Marines there. I mean, it's just such a huge thing that happened during Second World War in our local community, and it's just wonderful that it's now out in the open and it's commemorated every year. Of course, the other thing that happened was the Footsteps of the Marines Walk and Run, which happened on Sunday, and I had the pleasure of starting the second race with the bell. Thank goodness it's not begun anymore. It isn't like that. But 139 started and 137 finished. I know one of the people who didn't finish was Mary Gow, who had to run back early so that she could put on the mulled wine concert in the afternoon.
I see.
So that was absolutely wonderful too, and that's been held for some years now too. I think it might be the 10th one, and they had a different route this time, which had less on-road running and more off-road running, and that was really well received as well. So they had 34 volunteers helping on the day and 14 scouts and leaders manning the drink station, so a real community effort there too. So, just a wonderful event that happens each year with Memorial Day here.
Oh, that's great, isn't it? And that 97-year-old gentleman, or 96, is he a resident in New Zealand, or is he from over in America?
Well, I think he was visiting, yeah. So.
Right. What an effort. That's fantastic. Now, you had a meeting last night of the Community Board and the considerations for grants for the campus estate. How did that go?
Yes, so we had a wonderful little clutch of applications this time, which were all able to be funded. One was a holiday theatre program through the Pineapple Project. Julia Truscott organises them. She's done it before. It's a wonderful holiday program because not only are they learning to act, but it's very creative. They write their own scripts and sometimes they'll make a film or something like that. So that's a holiday program that's been running before, and that should happen, I think, in the next school holidays. And there's a production happening at the school. Again, they're writing their own script. Apparently they lose the heart of Paekakriki and they've got to find it again. So that's being funded through the campus estate as well. There's a Kapiti College trip to Ecuador, which 3 of our locals are going on, and they've had a little bit of help towards that trip. And Sarah Delahunty is putting on one of her wonderful productions, which is a retelling of the Red Riding Hood story, except this time the grandmother eats the wolf, and it's it's a story of women's rights and emancipation, apparently. So, and that's been instigated by a bunch of teenagers who did her theatre workshop and really missed it when she found she couldn't do it anymore, and said, please, can you come back and do some more work with us? I mean, she's, of course, a very, very experienced theatre practitioner and director, and very experienced in working with young people. She's done a lot of productions in Wellington and around the country, so we're very lucky to have her in our local community, and really helping with those community productions. So that's absolutely fantastic as well. Now, through the discretionary grants, we funded Vicky Noon, a local, came up with some ideas of having a few more facilities for dogs around the village. She noticed that there are a lot of dogs coming into the shops and only one hook. So we're going to put up some more dog hooks and also have some access to some more plastic bags around the village so that people can pick up their doggy doos, which are apparently quite frequently seen on the pavement. So that's really positive. And then on the spur of the moment, Graham Coe, who's chair of the Paekakriki Community Trust, said that on the back of the 100-year celebrations, where they had a whole lot of old photos around the hall, a lot of people said, can we see them again? Can we see more? And some people who didn't see them, including myself, because I was away at the time, said, can you get them out again? So so they're going to put up those pictures. Also, there's a bit of a history project that they're going to do, sourcing what the background is to some of the names of the streets in Paekakriki, and then also some historic film footage. So there'll be a kind of little history festival at the hall coming up soon.
Gosh, that'll be interesting.
We've decided to give that some funding as well. It will be really interesting. I'm really looking forward to that. So the other big thing that happened at the meeting last night was a discussion around the parking on Ames Street and making some decisions around that. So we've decided to formalise the yellow lines because some of them are actually to do with safety, and at this stage not formalise any kind of residence parking or the time limits, just because we don't really have the resources to enforce that. But what we're going to do is, after the track is finished along State Highway 1, which is looking really great, and Paul Hughes has been down there, our community board member's been down there quite a few times in his gumboots helping to sort out a route. That's going to be finished in the next few months, and then 6 months after that we'll get another report to the board just to update us on how those traffic measures are coming along. There's also a chance to revisit the idea of residence parking through the traffic bylaw, which is going to be reviewed I think within the next year. So there's plenty of discussion still to be had around that, but for the moment we've got some certainty about what's happening up there and some official parking enforcement in place. Oh, the other thing that happened at the meeting was which Graham Coe also mentioned, was a report back on the consultation around the wind turbine.
Oh,
and
yes.
They've put flyers around the whole village, and they've had a heap of feedback apparently, and they reckon they've got a 97% positive response for the concept in general. So the next thing is to start some initial conversations quietly about consents, and they've also got hold of Phil Twyford, who's responded in some depth and also very positively. So that's well underway now.
Goodness.
That's pretty exciting.
It is exciting news. I'm all for it. I think they're fantastic. So 97%, that would be much higher than was expected, I should imagine, for it than against.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. All right, Janet, it was a very exciting meeting last night by the sounds of it.
It was.
Good. Thanks for your time this morning. We'll talk to you in a fortnight.
Thanks, Nigel.
Janet Holborow, Ward Councillor for Paekakriki Romantic Community Board and our Deputy Mayor.
106.3 Beach FM.